Hey and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why you understand a language but you don't speak it. This is one of the things I hear the most from people wanting to learn a language or from people who tiptoe in a language but never really speak it. And they're like, oh, I understand Spanish but I can't speak it. Well, if you understand it and you can't speak it, then it's practically useless because language should be there to be able to use it. And if you just understand a little bit here and there, you can reciprocate what you understood, and it's definitely going to be more difficult. The main reason why you understand a language but you can't speak it is essentially because of lack of practice. As simple as it sounds, but that's the case for most language learners and people. My students, they tell me that all the time, and a lot of people think they practice a lot, and you might actually practice a lot, but the right kind of technique and practice is what it's about. That's why in my Speedy Lingo course and Polyglot Bootcamp, I make sure to explain every step by step you need to take to learn languages. There's a technique behind it. It's not in vain that polyglots are polyglots, because they have found a technique to apply to every language. That's why you can learn Spanish, then you can go on and learn French, then you can go on and learn Portuguese, because it's always the same pattern and technique that you apply to the language. And a lot of people haven't found that, and they just study and study and study. You can study so much and still plateau and not be able to actually communicate in an effective way and talk to people. That's why you just understand a little bit here and there. You can't actively speak the language. So make sure to join the community today. In the next 24 hours, you have access. So make sure you join in time on the link below. Otherwise, the door will be closed. The next reason why you're only able to understand but not able to speak a language is because you're not communicating in it. As simple as that. And it's super important to get into community. That's why I created my community, for people to not only learn and study by themselves, but actually be able to use the language. And that's what essentially will make you progress. You can talk to yourself as much as you want, but if everything you hear just goes in but can't go out, it's going nowhere. You have to reproduce what you take in. So all of the learning and studying you do will only do so much, because you don't have anywhere else to put it out. So you can't practice. You don't have real life situations where you're talking to people, where you're making mistakes. That's actually essential to learn and progress. And it's just the lack of that, as simple. And a lot of people don't do that. They just try to do everything by themselves, just try to learn and study by themselves and think, I'm going to get there. Once I get to this level, then I'm going to get out and start talking to people. It's not the way it works. You actually have to start talking to people from day one on. Talk to either native speakers. If you can talk to native speakers, talk to someone who speaks the language fluently. And in my community, we have language spaces just for that. If you want to practice Spanish, if you want to practice Portuguese, you just go in there and talk to people. And like that, we can exchange. I speak Spanish, Portuguese, German, English, French on a daily. So all of these languages, I just juggle them. And I always used to do that. That's why I became fluent in them, because on a daily I'm practicing and speaking them. So it's definitely not enough to take a lesson once a week, twice a week, and call it a day. And I tell that my students every time, because a lot of people think that you can just take lessons and that's it. No, besides the lessons, the work is on you. I can do only so much to give you lessons, but after the lessons, the work continues. The lessons are 20%. The rest, 80%, is on you. You have to do the listening. You have to do the speaking. You have to do the exchanging with people. And it doesn't mean that you have to per se study, which I also say in my course, but there's even an activity plan where you can naturally incorporate the language in the things you would do anyways. And that's exactly how I learned. I never sat down and studied. Study is what I did in school, but that doesn't bring you that far. So all the tutoring, language apps and whatnot you've been taking for months and months and months, and you're still at the same level pretty much, doesn't do much. The minute you go out and actually start to speak with people, you'll see the switch and change so quick. And at the beginning, it might be a little frustrating, of course, because you don't understand everything. You're not able to express everything you want at once. But just be patient and you'll see, like, little by little, it gets better so fast. So this was it. I hope it was useful. See you in my next video.